Hello everybody, welcome to Cat's Movie Reviews. I do this every month. I talk about movies. I try and watch as many as I can. I haven't done very well this month because I've been busy. I've been very busy. I've watched 7, so it's okay. It's not great. I know, it's quite sad, but to be fair, like when we started doing Across the Pond, I do like 4 movies, and like 7 would have been like, oh my god, I watched 7 movies this month. It's so many. But now I'm like, that's lame. That's not enough.
Yeah.
I haven't done enough.
Yeah, you're just underachiever now. You're
I know,
lazy,
it's super trash.
Doing schoolwork, making your own movies. I mean, what's that?
I know, right?
Garbage.
What's that? Trash, garbage. Yeah. So I've been I've been all over the place recently. I've been changing my name, sorting out all that stuff, getting into the gender identity clinic. It's a whole thing.
Your middle name is Sandwich.
Movies though. That joke wasn't funny the first time you did it. It's not funny now.
To me. I make myself laugh, funny. And that's what's important.
Yeah, so the first movie I watched, we'll just jump straight into this movies thing, shall we? Despicable Me 3 is a film.
Hooray!
That is okay. It's because when you go into a film that has minions in it, at this point, society has pretty much conditioned everyone to be like minions are the worst thing ever. They're basically the spawn of Satan. You hate minions, and to be fair, minions are pretty trash. I'm really against minions as a marketing thing. I hate how they're everywhere. I kind of hated them in Despicable Me 2. I thought they were crazy overused. In the first film, they were alright. They were fine in the first one. They are okay in this one.
I didn't mind them at all in either of the first 2. I just want to say I haven't watched the third one yet. I watched Despicable Me 2 when it came out, but like my friend invited me to see it, and I was like, I haven't seen the first one, but they were like, it's fine. And I really liked it, and then I watched the first one, and I thought it was great, and I loved the human characters, and I thought the minions were fine little, like, comic relief. They're like, 100 little, like, Timon and Pumbas. They're just, there to be whatever, but they are not supposed to be the main characters, or the main focus, which is why I never saw the Minions movie.
Which is why the Minions movie is garbage. No, see, my problem, I liked Despicable Me 1 because, for the same reason, I thought the Minions were good as like a side thing that just popped up every now and then. Didn't really have many dedicated scenes for them. And the main plot was good, whereas in the second one I hated the main plot. I thought Lucy's a garbage character, and that whole thing was boring to watch, and it sucked. But this third one has... It basically is a film of 3 plots, which actually another film that I watched this month is a film of 3 plots, which is quite interesting. But this one is a film of 3 plots. It's a film of... The first plot is a good plot. It's the storyline of Gru and his twin brother doing villain stuff with what is actually probably one of my favourite villains of, like, anything.
Is that really a good story, that plot?
Yeah,
because I always thought bringing in a twin, like, that no one's ever heard of, was, like, a really cheap way to, like, make a story.
It's not really good because of the twin. It's fine. The twin thing is fine. The twin thing is adequate. The reason that plotline is good is because of Balthazar Brat, who, if you've seen the trailer, you know the deal with him. He's like an 80s guy. He's got, like, Rubik's Cubes and bubblegum. He's voiced by... I forget which one. I think it's Trey Parker. One of the South Park guys voices him. And they do a really good job. He's a really fun character, and he's just entertaining to watch in every scene he's in. Like, he was just comedically on point, and every moment with him was fun. It was a good movie in that respect. Like, he was a good villain, and he was enjoyable to watch. Yes.
Because that's what Despicable Me 2 did extremely poorly. Like, the villain sucked. It was the worst
wasn't
part.
it just like a Mexican stereotype guy or something? I don't remember. Yeah. I've blocked that movie out of my mind. And then the first one, I mean, what's his face was kind of okay.
Vector.
I can't remember his name.
I thought he was funny. He was like a nerd.
He was kind of funny, but he's not as good as Balthazar Brat, who is great. Balthazar Brat is like legitimately really fun to watch in every scene. But the second plot that it has is the plot line of all of the... Basically what they did is they realized that all of these superfluous characters that they introduced for, hey, the plot of the first one is, hey, we've added kids to this guy's life, and that's the plot. The second one is, hey, well, we added a wife to this guy's life, and that's the plot. And now they're like, what do we do with these characters? And what they do with those characters is they make a really boring subplot that's just trash and isn't fun or entertaining at all. And it's about, like, Lucy trying to be a good mother, but, like, it's pointless, because why does it matter? and it's just dumb, and it's not funny, and
I
it's
mean, the
stupid, and
franchise
I
should
hate
be
it.
about him being a father to those kids because that was the point of the whole first
Yeah,
movie, and that's funny, taking a supervillain and making him an awkward dad. You know.
yeah, but that was the whole first film, though. They can't if they just did that for 3 films, it'd just be I don't know, they'd run out of I can't think of a conceivable way to stretch that across. It was done well in the arc of the first film,
Yeah.
and then there's not much they can do with it past there. And there are a couple of like Gru being a dad scenes in this one, but Gru being a villain with his brother is way better. Then the third plot is the minions decide that they hate Gru now because he's not a villain anymore, and they revolt, and then they get put in prison, and then they escape from prison, and that's really fun. Like I didn't hate that.
Oh.
I thought it was like there were like 4 scenes that were dedicated to the minions.
Sounds
and,
boring
like,
to me.
two of them were really fun. Like the prison escape sequence is really fun to watch. Like it was entertaining. It was well done. It was well conceived. It was a good concept because you're seeing these goofy, stupid characters that are dumb and everyone hates them in prison. Like it's like they're just bullying all the other inmates and stuff. Yeah, like it was fun.
This
like
movie
I enjoyed
sounds
that.
like? It sounds like the Pirates of the Caribbean 5 of the Despicable Me franchise. Like, pointless, doesn't need to be there, kind of dumb, but also just kind of enjoyable to sit back and eat popcorn to.
Yeah, basically.
It's a popcorn flick, as I think
yeah,
Shay calls them.
It's a fun kids movie. It has all the problems that any Illumination film has in that it's incredibly lazy in its character design and animation. You know,
Sure.
I mean, Illumination does this all the time. They just copy paste character models and alter them slightly. Like in Sing, there's an example where the same crocodile model is used like in every scene as a background character because they just wanted to copy and paste that one crocodile a bunch of times. And Minions are like the best example of that because it's like, hey, how do we make an army of dumb comic relief without actually having to do any design work at all?
Just
make them the most
marshmallows
simplistic characters.
Give some of them one eye and some
like,
of them hats.
And alter about 3 of them. And it's lazy filmmaking. The twin thing is clearly just because they were like, oh, how do we only pay one voice actor for 2 characters and just do a recolor? Oh, that's easy.
Which is fine because Steve Carell's like the best part of those whole films. He's the best part of a lot of movies, and I like the way he delivers.
He's not the best
jokes.
part of this one. Trey Parker is, but you know.
But honestly, I'll probably still like it. I'll comment on it next time I see it.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved Lucy as a character. I thought she was a great like female addition to the family. I didn't think she was just like an annoying, stupid damsel in distress. Like she was dorky, but she was also really smart and like tough in her own way.
Right.
I don't know. I thought she was funny. She was Kristen Wiig, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And she's awesome. So there you go.
I mean, my problem with her is more that like it's aiming to be a comedy, and I've never found any jokes regarding her to be funny.
Oh, I think
I don't know. Like in the third one, she's just kind of like neurotic and annoying the whole time, and doesn't do anything that makes sense, and it's just like I don't care about this.
I find that a little
Stop showing me
refreshing
this.
for a mom or just a woman character to be like a kind of annoying instead of just like, here I am, I'm a walking pair of boobs who like rules the world.
I mean, yeah, see, I can see that argument, but I don't.
I mean, it doesn't have to work for everyone. That's why I like it. That's
fine. Yeah, it's fine. Minions are okay in it. They've got some okay scenes. I didn't hate them, and that surprised me. Like when I found myself actually laughing at a Minion joke, I was like, "Oh, these can be okay." You know, these aren't. And it reminded me of the first one where they were fine. Don't get me wrong. I don't like Minions. I think they're lazy. I think they're horrible. I think the marketing around them is terrible. I think the whole. It's just they're just terrible, but I didn't hate them in this movie. I laughed a couple of times, and that was nice.
I think they
it was
are fine
refreshing.
within the contents of their films, not the Minions films, the Despicable Me films. They need to stay in those movies where they belong.
I kind of want to watch the Minions movie just to see how god awful it is. I'm gonna watch the Emoji movie.
I've heard the Minions movie has a very decent plot. Like the previews for it are all just like minions everywhere, but then I read the synopsis of it and I was like, oh, this is about how they came to be. And there's actually human characters in it with like important voice actors, and they have their own characters and stories. And I'm like, oh, it might not be complete garbage, but I'm also not just not that interested.
No, I'm not either. Like, if I'm gonna watch a trash animated movie, I'm gonna watch Emoji Movie, which, by the way, is gonna be hype.
I know. I know.
You excited for the Emoji Movie? Because you should be.
You know what I have to say? Meh.
Yes. Savaged, brutalized, destroyed. Okay, so after that, I mean, no one actually cares about Despicable Me 3. I feel like if we did actually have any audience, which we don't, then they would have tuned out about midway through that because no one actually cares. Despicable Me 3 is not a film that you want to listen to people talk about for a long period of time. Spider-Man Homecoming, on the other hand, is, and you haven't seen it.
All right, here
really
we go.
annoying.
I haven't seen it yet. No, this is a sequel to the Avengers 2, right?
What?
Isn't that what it takes place after?
It takes place after Civil War, which is Captain America 3.
That's right.
So you weren't entirely wrong.
I just mentioned before we started recording that I can't remember about any details about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Just that I like laughing.
Avengers 2 is Age of Ultron. That was so long ago.
This is Age of Spider-Man before he comes home.
Okay, Spider-Man Homecoming, picks up pretty much right after Civil War. In fact, the scene from Civil War is in it, and it's really funny because it's like Peter Parker's been like video blogging the whole thing, and like it's all shown from his perspective, and it's really cute. Like that's like first 5 minute stuff. That's not a spoiler. I'm gonna try not to spoil it because obviously QJ hasn't seen it. I don't want to spoil it for her.
Yay.
So no spoilers here today. Don't worry about it. Spider-Man Homecoming is great. It's really fun. It's not perfect. It's got like its issues. It's like I don't know. It was like sometimes, there were some scenes where I was like, meh. But then Spider-Man being Spider-Man was really fun. He doesn't go to any funerals. He doesn't cry. He doesn't awkwardly pine after he does kind of awkwardly pine after a girl, but like not in the same way that like Andrew Garfield did in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, where he was like, I'll move to England for you. Oh, I'm Andrew Garfield. It was like actually good. It was like, oh, I'm a teenager and I kind of like this girl, but like Spider-Maning is more important because the Vulture's going to kill people otherwise.
That seems more true to a 15-year-old dude.
Yeah, he's just a dude who kind of likes this girl and he just keeps screwing it up because Spider-Maning is more important.
That's what 15-year-old boys do. They screw things up with girls and then chase spiders. That's what Spider-Man does, right?
But the main highlight of this movie is in Vulture, who is played by Michael Keaton, and it's fantastic. He's honestly the best villain in probably the MCU, definitely the MCU. Anyone who's like, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 solved Marvel's villain problem and was wrong, now needs to be saying Spider-Man Homecoming has solved Marvel's villain problem.
Wait,
because that's like
people
correct.
Thought that Kurt, what was his name?
Yeah, people thought that Ego the Living Planet was like a good villain, which he isn't. It's stupid.
I never even played like, that, and I didn't mind his presence in the movie at all.
I know, it's so dumb. He's such a like non-villain. Taserface was a better villain than him. Taserface, I love Taserface. That whole Taserface scene, like that arc, was just the best part of that film. Anyway, Spider-Man. Back to Spider-Man. Vulture is great. It makes me really excited for the future of Spider-Man
better
villains.
Than the 80s guy in Despicable Me 3.
I mean, they're like incomparable because the 80s guy in Despicable Me 3 is like the goofiest, dumbest villain of all time, and that's why he's great. But Vulture is like played completely straight and like he's just dead serious and like almost scary. My biggest problem with Spider-Man Homecoming is pretty much a non-issue. But it's the fact that Shocker was done really poorly. Or at least he wasn't done badly, he was just not in it, really. And I like Shocker. Shocker's the guy who wears, like, yellow quilts on his costume and, like, has gauntlets that shocks people.
I don't think I've ever heard of him.
He's like a useless coward and he's great. And you should read Superior Foes of Spider-Man, because Superior Foes of Spider-Man is one of the best comic series I've ever read. It's about a group of doofy Spider-Man villains trying to be good villains.
Put it in the comments, terrible at it. Maybe I'll read it.
But it's a lot of fun. I think it ran for like 3 volumes. And Shocker's in it and he's great in it. And that's where my love of Shocker comes from. Shocker's great. He wasn't in this film. He was just kind of there and it was a bit disappointing. But yeah, this film, Spider-Man Homecoming, it's fun, it's great, it's a good comedy, it's goofy. I can see its problems. It has kind of like plotting issues. Some scenes are a bit like boring and meh. I don't know, at times Peter Parker's a bit too much of a dumb idiot. Like sometimes you're just kind of like, man, just do this. And I think I'm not sure I like the reliance on basically his suit is like a Tony Stark suit and it has all these like tech upgrades, and I don't think I like that much. It's used comedically mostly, and some of it's really good. There's a really good scene with Donald Glover, which if people who have seen this film will know the scene. It's the scene where Donald Glover's at his car and there's a whole thing and it's really funny, and that uses like an element of his suit to kind of show that basically Spider-Man doesn't need this suit. He doesn't need all the tech, but when he tries to use it, it's kind of goofy, and it's because he doesn't need it. He's good enough on his own,
Okay.
and that's kind of a point. But you know, it was good. It was fun. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I think that's the general consensus on Spider-Man: Homecoming. I don't think anyone said they don't like it.
It's good
And
enough.
maybe there are people, but it's fine. It's not like, you know, amazing MCU. It's not bad MCU. It's not even like okay MCU.
Wait,
it's
so
it's
it
good
is
MCU.
it is MCU.
Yeah. Okay.
So- What?
Oh, the rights situation. The Marvel
What?
rights situation.
Okay,
Basically, Sony
I was
had
just gonna ask, but apparently
Yeah.
I'm opening up a can of worms.
It's just annoying to explain. Basically, Sony had the rights to Spider-Man, but then they gave the creative rights to Marvel, but Sony still has like the distribution rights. So Sony still like sell the film and make money off the film, but Marvel make the film, which benefits Marvel in other ways. So basically, yeah. So this one is in the MCU. Iron Man is in it, and the only reason Iron Man is in this film is to make people go, "Oh, this is in the MCU," you know?
Right.
And the
In
trailer
case
showed
they
like
haven't
every
seen
single
the Avengers 2 Age of Spider-Man.
Age of Spider-Man, yeah, the one where he steals Captain America's shield. Yeah, that happens in Avengers 2. But yeah, it's basically, and the marketing really shoehorned the Tony Stark thing, and it made it look like the whole thing was really Tony Stark central by showing literally every Tony Stark scene that's in the movie in the trailers. And that was a bad. I mean, it makes sense as a marketing gimmick because it's like, hey, this is Spider-Man. Anyone who thinks that this is just doing a Spider-Man again, no, this one's got a gimmick. It's in the MCU, to try and pull people in, and it worked. So because you got to separate it, you got to manage to make people believe that this is actually good Spider-Man again. But the thing that really annoyed me is there's this really powerful good scene that's ruined by the trailers. So
I haven't seen any of the trailers.
yeah, I'm trying to think if I can
Hooray!
actually talk about this. Basically, in that second trailer, okay, it involves Tony Stark stepping out of a suit, and people who have seen the film will know that it's really hard to like explain why that's really annoying and stupid. there's just a moment that's ruined by showing that in the trailers, and in fact that a lot of the stuff that's shown in the trailers, there's just one trailer that ruined it, but like whatever. Anyway, it's hard to explain without spoiling things, and I don't want to spoil it for you, so it's fine. Don't worry about it. Spider-Man's good. Spider-Man, they did a good one. They finally did a good one after, I don't know, the last good Spider-Man movie was Spider-Man 2. They've made 3 since then. We now have 50-50, like, it's a 50% good to bad ratio with Spider-Man films. Like, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1 and 2 and Homecoming are good, and then Spider-Man 3, Amazing 1 and Amazing 2 are all terrible. And that's how Spider-Man is right now. It's 50-50 good bad. Let's hope that it keeps getting better, and we just slowly tip the scales to be all good.
I have a Spider-Man journal.
Yay! I really like Spider-Man, but he's been torn into the ground all the time, and it's really trash, and it's annoying. But now we got a good Spider-Man
all over the
again.
universe.
Tom Holland's great. Except, Tom Holland is, the guy who plays Spider-Man, Tom Holland, is apparently, so there are all these interviews with Anthony Mackie, who plays Falcon, where he's just calling Tom Holland out and being like, Tom Holland's an a-hole, and it's really funny because Anthony Mackie, like, it's clearly like banter, but Anthony Mackie is just saying it dead serious and being like, yeah, Tom Holland's a dumb little brat, he always needs to stop to have a Capri Sun whenever we shoot, and it's just so funny. And then Tom Holland's just sat there like, I don't know why Anthony Mackie hates me so much. But it's I'd recommend it. Just search Tom Holland is an asshole on YouTube, and you get some high quality, just Anthony Mackie being horrible about. It's so funny. And yeah, like it got so bad that Benedict Cumberbatch had to be like, Mackie says these things, but we all have to remember that it's all in fun and games. He doesn't mean any of it. And it's like when Benedict Cumberbatch has to step forward and be like, okay.
And Doctor Strange is always the mediator. He's always the one in the middle and not choosing sides, right?
Yeah, there's one interview where Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan, who plays Bucky, they just start like insulting everyone who was on Team Stark in Civil War. Like they're still salty at the actors. It's so good. I love it. I love like Marvel cast banter.
It's great.
But yeah, so Spider-Man's good. Wrapping that up, straight onto the new Edgar Wright film. Anyone who doesn't know, Edgar Wright is the guy who co-wrote and directed the Cornetto trilogy. So, and also Scott Pilgrim vs. a bad film, whatever. And he made a new film. It's called Baby Driver. It's great. It is a if you like QJ, I know you've said in the past you've been like, I don't know what good editing is. I don't know what good sound design is. Like, and you can't pick up on that. Baby Driver is the optimal in both of those things. If you're like, I'm not sure what good sound design is, watch Baby Driver. That's good sound design. That's like phenomenal sound design, phenomenal editing. Everything is cut perfectly to the music. Everything is cut perfect. All of the sound effects are great. The gunfights are timed perfectly out with the music, and it's like, oh, it's so beautiful.
Wow, you are geeking out in a way I just can't comprehend right now.
Like, I know.
Editing nerd.
I know, it's really sad, like, because Edgar Wright basically, he directs for editing, and you see it in the Cornetto trilogy a lot. You see these really good cuts and these really good moments that are clearly, like, he's clearly thought about them while writing and directing, and he's considered how that's going to look when it's edited. And Baby Driver is, like, even better. It's just everything is perfectly cut together, everything flows. It's a work of genius post-production. It's amazing in that regard, and it's amazing in its directing as well. Like, the directing is great.
Now, do you think that's something that only like you and other editing nerds notice, or do you think people like me even would like appreciate that, like watch the movie and go like, wow, that was something quite beautiful about that?
I think you'd appreciate it on the level that it's fun to watch. Like, even if you don't get like this is good editing, it's still like snappy and fast paced, and all the action's really like, it's just fun to watch, you know.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of a comparative, like an example of like of something similar that you would have seen where it's like it's done similarly, but I can't for the life of me.
Hacksaw Ridge won best sound editing, didn't it?
Yes, but Hacksaw Ridge doesn't do anything. It didn't do anything like creative with its sounds. It did its sound editing.
And Baby Driver has a lot of opportunity for creativity in the sound editing, doesn't it? Because he like wears headphones while he's driving or something like that.
Yes, he does it all. So do you remember when I was complaining about Moonlight, and I was complaining the protagonist of Moonlight never speaks, and that makes him really dull as a character, and they don't do much to like pull you into his head.
Mm-hmm.
Sound design can be used to pull you into the head of a character that barely speaks incredibly well. So basically, in Baby Driver, the character Baby, he barely ever speaks, and on surface level, he's kind of a non-character. You wouldn't really get much if it was all shot and edited plainly as like Moonlight was. You wouldn't get anything from that character. You wouldn't get any depth to them. But the way they use sound in Baby Driver, like when he doesn't have earplugs in listening to music, and when he's not speaking to people, this ringing comes in that he has in his ears, and it really helps pull you into his head and pull you into how he's thinking and how he sees the world. And it's incredibly well done. It's like the plot's a little bit predictable. No, actually, I don't want to say predictable. It's a bit like, you know they're gonna pull off the job in the end, and they're gonna, you kind of know what's gonna happen, but it's step by step. It's kind of unpredictable. Like, you don't know exactly what's gonna happen next. There's not gonna be a big plot twist,
and there doesn't really have to be.
But yeah, so like the story structure is kind of predictable, but the moment by moment, like, exactly what's going to happen in the next second is like a whirlwind of like, oh, he's going to go that way, he's going to go this. Yeah, it is. It's a very exciting movie. It's one that you just sit back, you watch, and you're like, this is great. Start to finish, it's fun. It's
I always wonder
snappy.
how they do auditions for characters like that, characters who never talk. Because there's a character in Little Miss Sunshine who doesn't talk, which is a movie I highly recommend you see. I watched it again recently. But there's this teenage kid who's like taken like a vow of silence, and but he's a really good character even though he doesn't talk. And I was like, how did they audition that kid? Like, they can't have him come in and read lines. So like, what do they do for characters like him and Baby?
Yeah, you probably just look into their expressiveness on their face and try and work out if they can convey. Yeah, it's probably tricky. Yeah.
That's
Baby Driver's great.
In seeing,
I'd recommend it.
In like behind the scenes.
Yeah, like why you picked that.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend Baby Driver. I think of the films, I would recommend seeing Baby Driver in cinemas. It's one of those films where it might not have the same impact if you if you see it at home. Like Spider-Man: Homecoming's gonna be fun wherever you see it. Two and Me 3, I wouldn't recommend anyone see, but you're gonna see it anyway, so whatever.
Yeah.
Baby Driver, I would definitely recommend. I'd recommend it to everyone. I think it's great. I think it's a fantastic movie. I think it's just really good. Like it's cut really well. There's a really good match cut where oh, I can't remember exactly what it is. There's something that's spinning and it match cuts to a washing machine spinning, and it's just fantastic, and I love it.
That's cool.
I think it might be a record to a washing machine, but I love match cuts. Match cuts are like my jam. So then I don't remember why. Normally I watch DreamWorks movies when I'm like ill or but I don't think I was ill. I think I was just bored and I didn't want to watch anything thought-provoking or interesting. So I went onto the DreamWorks Wikipedia page, as I often do,
Yeah.
as I have been known to do. And I was like, okay, what DreamWorks movies have I not seen? And apparently Rise of the Guardians, I was like, Rise of the Guardians I've heard is good. I've seen a lot of fan art of Jack
I saw Rise
Frost
of the
from
Guardians.
it, and I'm like,
I saw that in theaters.
I'm like, oh,
I don't know why.
So yeah, I sat down and I watched it, and I quite liked it actually. The first act was a bit like meh, but then it got better as it went on. I didn't like Jack Frost as a character at all. I thought Jack Frost was kind of trash.
He's not like
basically
like what's the word? He's not like sympathetic. Like, you don't really want him to like succeed or win. You're just like, okay, you're just you.
Yeah, just a guy that I don't really care about.
And let's interact with Father Christmas and what's the gold guy that looks like a marshmallow?
Oh, Sandman, who's great.
He's so
cute! He's like the best part of that film, best character, loved it. Just for anyone who hasn't seen Rise of the Guardians, doesn't know what the hell we're talking about. Rise of the Guardians is a film about physical embodiments of like things children, I don't want to say like holidays, because like, yeah, Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny are there, but then also the Tooth Fairy
Sandman and the Tooth
like
Fairy. It's like mythical
Jack Frost,
beings that adults make up and lie to their children about to get them to behave.
Yes, which is weird because Jesus wasn't in there, but like he's one of those.
Oh, I mean, he wasn't mythical, and neither was Saint Nicholas.
Sorry, I've never seen QJ's face like drop so quickly. Oh, that was fun.
Like if you had said God, that would have been fun. Like, but like no, Jesus was a person, and so was Santa technically. He was Russian in that movie, wasn't he? Or did they? Did they call him Father Christmas? What did they call him?
I think so. I don't know, because it was basically they did really interesting different takes on each of them apart. Like because the Easter Bunny was like a hench, like massive rabbit with anger issues and Hugh Jackman's voice. Like it was great. I love that. And it was they just did fun little takes on everything. Yeah, that's
my favorite.
There are some really good like design choices. There are some really good like world building in it. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was a like whimsical, fun world that they built.
Yeah.
I enjoyed being taken on an adventure through it.
Yeah, you get Santa and the Easter Bunny, and they have to like get all the children's teeth and hide presents. And so they hide a bunch of eggs under their pillows or like other random things.
The scene where they're like all competing to like get the most teeth is just so funny. That was such a fun scene.
It's cute.
I had a lot of fun with that movie. It's not like perfect, but it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Yeah. My biggest problem with it though, and this is a spoiler, if you care about spoilers for Rise of the Guardians, first of all, you're like 8 years too late or something. Second of all, why?
Yeah.
If you care about Rise of the Guardians spoilers and you're watching this, comment why. But there'll be a timestamp on screen. I don't care, whatever. So the whole thing that annoyed me is the villain's whole shtick is he's like the boogeyman, and he's like, I want to put fear in everyone, right?
Uh-huh.
And in the end, they just like banish him. But what they should have done, and if I was writing this, I would have been not really dumb. And maybe it was a sequel hook, and maybe in the sequels they were going to try and do this. I don't know. But like, and then the sequels got cancelled. That was the whole thing. But I would have had this character have a redemption arc where in the end they're like, hey, you don't have to be evil for kids to believe in you. Why don't you have Halloween? Does that not make sense?
That would have been good for the whole like, because I was gonna say it kind of seems like a movie that would be like a storybook created for children, where they're like, here's a spin on all the things you believe in, and then at the end it's like the villain becomes good, and I mean it's like a lot of Marvel graphic novels lately, where Squirrel Girl and Black Cat, or wait, not Black Cat, what's her name?
Hellcat.
Hellcat, yeah. They like meet people and they're like, "You're mean," and they're like, "I'm sorry," and they're like, "Well, you should work somewhere else where you can take your powers and be nice," and they're like, "Okay, that sounds like a good idea. We're all good people again, yay!"
Oh, but yeah, no, I just thought like, because the whole film I was sitting there like, are they gonna do anything with Halloween? Because like Christmas, Easter, Halloween, those are the big three things that kids do. Those are the big three. I was just like, this is such a waste of. Why not do Halloween? It was really annoying me. And then I was like, why hasn't St. Patrick shown up? I wanted a leprechaun.
Yeah, another mythical being.
Yeah, they could have just like not had them as guardians, but had like loads of like smaller characters that kind of popped up for little jokes. There would there would be a joke in
St. Patrick, St. Valentine.
Yeah, stuff like that. I kind of feel like it was lacking that, and I feel like they were planning on doing sequels. Because they were definitely planning sequels, and they got cancelled, and I think that they were kind of saving things for sequels. So I think that might have been why we didn't see anything Halloween related or anything of those other things, which is a shame. But you know, what can you do?
Well, that's because Halloween doesn't really have a figure, does it?
No, but they had a character whose whole thing was fear. I feel like they could just be like, you can be the figure of Halloween. Also, Sandman. Who's Sandman? Okay, is Sandman like a bigger thing in America? Because Sandman is a mythical figure. I feel like I don't hear about ever.
Bring me a dream.
Like, I only know that because of.
The Sandman puts you to sleep, and he puts the crusties in your eyes at night.
I've never heard that as a myth. I've only heard that as like there's an episode of Doctor Who where it's all about sleep, and they like try and make Sandman to be like creepy, and in that film. That is the only 2 times I think I've ever heard of the Sandman.
No, he's just like he's kind of like Jack Frost, where it's like, oh, Jack Frost is making your nose all runny, and it's like, well, mommy, why are there things in my eyes when I wake up from sleep? Well, it's because the Sandman put garbage in your eyes, tried to blind you so that you woke up blind, but it didn't work.
But like, is that a big thing? Like in America, does
it's
every
not
kid
big
get
like
told
the
that
Tooth
one?
Fairy. Like, I don't think people even talk about it anymore. Like, I think I just heard about it once or twice when I was a kid, and then people created romantic songs about it, and then Neil Gaiman created a villain called the Sandman.
Yeah. See, when I think Sandman, I think of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3, because Sandman was the best part of that whole film, and because he's a Spider-Man villain.
And I don't know.
And that has nothing to do with this Sandman. But yeah, so I just, it confuses me because I think
he's appeared in like old fairy tales. Not even fairy tales, like folk tales. Like, Sandman's gonna come in and put you to sleep.
Yeah.
Euthanize
you. But it was interesting because he was the best character in the film. Even though he never speaks.
He was adorable.
He was super cute. I loved him. Like, and he was like a complete badass as well. I thought that was great. I thought he was just really cool. And I think it might be because I had no prior expectations on that character, because I was like, I don't know who is Sandman.
Didn't he is he the one who like almost died at the end?
Yes. Well, didn't he die and then come back or something? Something
happened that made me like really sad, because he was so cute, and I think he almost died or something, and I was like, ah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I liked that movie. I thought it was good. I had fun with it. I would recommend it. DreamWorks are good at making movies. I'm excited for Captain Underpants. That's going to be great. I'm going to talk about that next month. I haven't seen it yet, though. It's real sad. I was going to see it today, and then I went to see something else instead, which I'll talk about in a bit. The next movie I watched was Jesse Eisenberg. Invented Facebook. Dicked over Spider-Man. Jesse Eisenberg.
Uh-huh.
Are you like typing something right now?
No, I'm paying full attention to you.
I was specifically doing that reference for your sake.
I don't know who Jesse Eisenberg is.
Oh my! It's the Game Grumps reference, because I'm just gonna delete this. I'm gonna cut this whole thing now. This whole episode is cancelled.
That's probably something they reference that I've never gotten.
Have you not? Why? I was sending it to you. I was like Snapchatting that to you while I was watching the social network.
Oh, that thing! Yeah, I screenshotted all those. I thought that was really funny.
Oh, did you not get that it was a Game Grumps reference?
No, I did, because the way you were ranting, but the way you were speaking it just now, I didn't really.
Okay. Yeah, anyway, yeah, so Jesse Eisenberg's dicks over Spider-Man, he makes Facebook, Trent Reznor did the soundtrack. Jesse
Eisenberg, Mark Zuckerberg. About a minute and a half too late there.
It's a good movie. It was fine. Jesse Eisenberg is a good actor. I really like him. I think that he's really good when he's cast in roles where he can be like eccentric and weird. Not Lex Luthor. Batman vs Superman is terrible, but yeah, he's good in this. He's really good. It's a good biopic and it's fun. See, the drawback of this new thing where we do video when we do these episodes is that I can tell when you're not actually listening to what I'm saying. Like I can straight up tell. I can see you. And like, I mean, I get it. The Social Network's not a particularly interesting movie. I was just gonna skim over it, but you know how it is. I'm just gonna call you out live on air. I can't wait because next time we do one of your episodes, if we ever do those, QJ's on break because she hasn't actually had any adventures recently. That's what she was saying to me earlier.
Yeah. No adventures.
Next time we do one of your episodes and you're talking about some book and I'm just gonna like pull out my Game Boy and play Pokemon or something.
Yeah, but you know if you do that, I'm gonna be like, hey!
Oh, peaked audio, my old friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. So anyway, Social Network, it's fine. It was like, okay. I kind of like zoned out a little bit because the thing with the biopic is you got to make it real spicy because like I know how it's going to end. And I know that the Social Network's going to end with Jesse Eisenberg being real rich and having a Facebook. And I'm like, okay, you got to make me interested in where it goes. And I feel like this episode, I feel like this film was a lot of just like courtrooms and stuff. And I didn't care that much about Jesse Eisenberg in a courtroom and then Jesse Eisenberg at university kind of just talking a lot about how he's going to make a Facebook. I don't know. I wasn't.
If he'd been like
fine.
Minority trying to rise up in society or something, it might have actually been like a worthwhile story. Like
I feel like it was a worthwhile story. It focused too hard on. I don't know. I felt like I was in a loop for a second there. It was.
So this was like the sequel to Social Network? Or this was Social Network?
This was the Social Network.
Okay.
What?
This is a really old movie.
Yeah, it is a really old
Okay,
movie.
I thought you were talking about like a movie that just came out, and I was like, this sounds so familiar. Sounds old.
Yeah, so anyway, point being, he makes Facebook, it's fine. It's okay movie. I zoned out a little bit. Anyway, the next movie I saw was a movie that a movie that I saw early because my local cinema does this thing where they'll screen a movie early, but they won't tell you what it is. And it's like a surprise. And I saw Hidden Figures like a month early because of that, and that was great because Hidden Figures, excellent film. Yeah. This one, disappointing. So this film was called The Big Sick. It's I mean, I'd call it a rom-com, but I felt like there was no actual romance because I didn't feel any chemistry between the leads in the romance. So I don't want to call it a rom-com for that reason. But also, it wasn't particularly funny, so I don't want to call it a rom-com for that reason. So it's just I don't really know what to call it. Yeah, it attempted to be a rom-com, but I feel like it failed on both of them. For the most part, there were some really good jokes. There were some jokes that were good. But the problem was, it's a film about a stand-up comedian who falls in love with a girl, and then the girl goes into a coma, and the coma stuff's really quite good. The coma stuff's actually quite well done. It's emotional. She like breaks up with him for reasons because he's from Pakistan and his parents don't want him to marry a white girl, and there's a whole thing there, but that's kind of like not very well done, so whatever, who cares. But while she's in a coma, he's like interacting with her parents, and she kind of fell out with him and was in a bad mood with him when she fell into the coma. But he's still in love with her, so he's still like visiting her in hospital the whole time. And he starts to get on with her parents, and they start to like really bond because and that element of the film is actually really good. That whole kind of like act of the film is well done. It doesn't make up for the fact that the early stuff is not good at all and was really boring and uncompelling, and the protagonist up until the third act where the coma stuff happens is just not an interesting, or he's just a dumb character. And one of the problems I had with it is if you're gonna write characters who are stand-up comedians, they should be funny. Like, it's not like one of them that it was written to be like a deliberately bad stand-up comedian. It was his friend who was like a bad comedian, and he was bad. But the other comedian characters, they acted like in universe in the film. Everyone thought that they were funny, and they were getting chosen to go and be bigger, like do bigger shows. And they weren't funny at all.
You're saying he wasn't funny when he was like being a comedian, or when he was just like talking to her parents and stuff?
When he was being a comedian, he just wasn't like, and his friends who were supposed to be like good comedians, they weren't funny at all.
Maybe that's why she was gonna break up with him. Maybe he was secretly just really bad at his job.
But yeah, I just think they didn't sell me on the relationship between the two romantic leads. It was very hit and miss with its comedy. There was some really good jokes.
It's interesting though. It reminds me kind of the like solution to I talked to you about Why the Last Man by Brian K. Vaughan. Were you ever planning on reading that, or do you mind if I like tell you what happens?
Someday I might, but I feel like I'll forget whatever you say very quickly.
Okay, so it's like it's the story about how like all the men in the entire world, everyone with a Y chromosome dies except this one guy, and then his girlfriend is in Australia, and they like have a conversation on the phone. She's like, I need to talk to you about something, and he's like about to propose to her, and then he spends like 5 years in this world of women like trying to travel across the world to get to her. And he's like, I still love her, like I'm not gonna cheat on her with these billions of women on the planet. And then he gets there and finds out that she was gonna break up with him right before like the apocalypse happened, and he was like, ah! And so
nice.
It reminds me of the whole like how they like weren't getting along right before she went into a coma, but then he just like stayed around, and she's probably like asleep in her coma. She can hear him out there, and she's like, go away, get out of my room.
But yeah, that was a whole thing. But plot aside, here's the biggest problem with this film.
Okay.
You know how some jobs in film they're things that you only notice when they're done badly. Things like special effects animation, you only notice if it's done badly. Camera work, usually you only notice if it's done badly. Acting, most of the time, you only notice if it's done badly. If it's done well, you don't notice that they're acting, because that's the point of acting.
Yeah.
Sound mixing is one that you definitely only notice when it's done badly. So basically, this whole film was recorded too high, so all of the dialogue is just like too loud.
Oh.
And it peaks the mics a lot, and it was just really uncomfortable to listen to. And I was watching it with another friend who also does a lot of sound stuff, and she was like, this is a problem. And then we were also with a friend who doesn't really do much sound stuff at all, and doesn't really know much about sound in film. And she was like, yeah, that was pretty bad. So the fact, it's not just because I know about sound that I noticed this. I don't think, anyway. Maybe no one else would notice this, but it was really, like, it was recorded too high, and it was really annoying me. And there was, like, hissing in the background of a lot of the scenes, and I don't know, just the production value on the sound was really low, and it really annoyed me. And it took me out of the film quite hardcore. I mean, maybe if I wasn't distracted by that, I might have enjoyed the rest of it a bit better. I don't think I would have, because it was quite boring in the first act. Like, the first act was horrible. It was just trash. It picked up by the third, but it was pretty bad. I did not like this film. It's getting good reviews. I don't know why. So
if it's getting good reviews, I might have to check it out and then see what I can argue with you about.
Go for it. Except don't. See The Baby Driver instead. See Boss Baby 2, Driver of Babies.
What?
Didn't you know that? Baby Driver's a sequel to Boss Baby.
Yeah, I knew that. It's after he grows up.
Yeah, it's when he... No. It's about the guy who drove him to the Templeton's house. Didn't you? Have you not seen The Baby Driver or The Boss Baby? The greatest films of all time.
I don't like babies.
Boss Baby's great. Anyway, the final film that I saw this month is a film that everyone's like losing their... It's funny because I saw this morning and I was like, oh, I can go and see one of two films. I could either see Captain Underpants or I could see Dunkirk. But Captain Underpants... was my preferred choice, right? A lot of people will get mad at me for that because they're like, oh, it's Christopher Nolan, he's the best guy ever. But like, I'm not that into Christopher Nolan, whatever. Memento was great. Every other film I've seen him do is kind of like okay. And I'm not that big into The Dark Knight. It's fine. It's an okay movie. The jokes are great, whatever. So I wanted to see Captain Underpants, but someone was in my seat and I didn't want to. I know. When I go to the cinema, I have a very specific seat that I have to sit in. It's the dead center, fourth row back. Unless it's a bigger screen. In the standard screens in my cinema, it's fourth row back, row D, seat 8 or 9, depending on where the fire exit is. And I'm yet to work out exactly where the fire exit is in each screen. But there's one screen that's really big, and you have to be further back in that one. But like that's different.
I'm really glad I know all this.
So I was gonna go see Captain Underpants, but someone was in seat D8, and I couldn't get D9 because then I'd be sat next to someone, and that's just awkward if you don't know the person.
Yeah.
So I couldn't go see Captain Underpants, so I had to go see Dunkirk. And you know how earlier when I was talking about Despicable Me 3, and I was like, it's a film with 3 plots, and there's another film with 3 plots in the cinemas. That is Dunkirk. Dunkirk is a film of 3 stories, and one of them is good. And a lot of people are going to be like, oh, it's a Christopher Nolan film, so it's the best film ever. I love Christopher Nolan. But
you sound like Bane's little sister.
What a good... good. I have nothing to add to that. But yeah, so, okay, do you know the story of Dunkirk? It's like a real history thing. I don't know if you know it.
I don't even know what that word is.
Okay, it's a place in France, World War II. Everyone had been... Basically, the Americans were being lazy, couldn't be bothered to fight. So we'd been pushed back, like the British and the French had been pushed back onto the beaches, like onto this beach, and we were basically defeated and we had to retreat. But we didn't have enough boats or something. So that basically all of our soldiers were just sitting on the beach waiting to be extracted, and a load of civilian boats of just people, they sailed across the channel to help pick up these soldiers. And it's a really interesting story. And the civilian boat is the only... So basically, the plot is told in 3 parts. There's lads on a beach who just want to get off the beach. And they're just being sad boys because they've been fighting in war or whatever. Oh. And none of them are compelling characters at all. And none of them have any depth. And they're all just guys. Because here's the thing. Telling a war story, you need to make me care about the soldier. Hacksaw Ridge did that incredibly well by giving like an entire like first and second... Like, you only see the war in the 3rd act. Hacksaw Ridge isn't about the war. It's about the person. Mm-hmm. Dunkirk just starts off in the war. We don't know anything about these people. The only thing I know, like, 2 of these characters in the beach lads scenes, they're the first 2 people who meet, and one of them is French, but the other doesn't realize that he's French until the final act. That's how little depth any of the... You don't know that he's French until the final act. Like, I feel like I should know that.
Maybe it was a twist.
It wasn't... I mean, it was kind of a twist, but it wasn't a good twist, because it was like, I should know this. This character should know this. If you've been hanging out with someone for the whole 2/3 of a film, you should know if they're French or not. It's ridiculous. There's no depth to them. They're just kind of guys on a beach who want to get off the beach. And their whole thing is they get on a boat, the boat explodes, they get back on the beach. They get on another boat, the boat explodes, they get back on the beach. It's really boring. It's well shot, but it's like it doesn't matter that it's well shot because it's just generic war action. Like, I've seen Hacksaw Ridge, that's good war action. This is just kind of like meh. The second plot is Tom Hardy is in a plane and he shoots some planes and stuff. Tom Hardy's character has no depth. He's just a pilot in a plane. There's no like...
Great.
Because if they had said... If he had like a photo of like a wife and child and he looked at it lovingly, because... At some point, I'd be like, "Oh, cool! He's fighting the war because he's a hero and he's got something to go back to."
That's like bare minimum depth that you need.
Yeah, but there wasn't that. He was just a guy who just was flying a plane and shooting other planes. The 3rd story is the one that was good, and that's the story of a civilian guy. He's this older guy, and he is sailing his boat to Dunkirk, and on the way they pick up this shell-shocked soldier, and he's like, no, turn back, go back to England, you don't want to go to Dunkirk. And the old guy's like, no, we're gonna go and we're gonna help. I have the right to go and help. You know, if young people have got to serve, I will do my bit. And he's a really good character. He was really well done. He had depth to him. You could see, and in the portrayal, in the acting, you could see that this guy had really heroic intent. He was just a really good guy who wanted to help no matter what, and he was willing to risk everything. And that was really good. And in the end, there's like this reveal that shows kind of why he was willing to be a hero, and he's just a really good guy. And it's really good. That third of the story is really good as a result. But everything else is just like non-characters doing generic war things. And I'm like, I don't care how good Christopher Nolan is at directing. I don't care how Christopher Nolan shot it in film. Are they trying to just teach you historical
fiction?
I mean,
like teach you history?
Yeah, I guess. But I knew the history. The story is like really basic. Some guys were on a beach and there weren't any boats, so people went out with boats and got them.
All right.
That's it. But it's not but with a film, you have to give us a story, you have to give us characters, you have to give depth to the characters so that I'm invested and I care. But just having them be like, we're at war and that's bad, I'm like, I don't care though. Like, maybe that's because I'm a sociopath, who knows? But to me, that I need something to connect with the characters.
I think it's the opposite of being a sociopath. I think being able to having the need to connect to people, to be able to connect to an event is human. It's normal.
Yeah. it was like really disappointing, especially after seeing Hacksaw Ridge, which is an incredibly well done war movie. Because the other thing with Dunkirk is all of it takes place during war. You don't, because the beauty of Hacksaw Ridge was that you got to see what this man's life was like before the war came into it. You got to see that he was this happy-go-lucky guy who, he was a little dork and he like chatted up that girl and it was really cute and he was just a little idiot and he was just a nice, peaceful guy. And he had all these things going on in his life and you saw before the war, and then so when the war hits, you've got contrast. All of the boot camp scenes in Hacksaw Ridge are like, they're pretty peaceful, and then bam, war. And it comes at you, it's just this beautiful contrast. Whereas in Dunkirk, it's like, okay, we're in the war. Okay, the war's still happening.
Here we are,
yep, there's more war. Yep, Tom Hardy just shot down another plane. Cool, okay. Yep, they got on another boat and then it exploded because the Germans bombed it. Yep, that's cool.
So it's a typical Christopher Nolan action film, and he's trying to make it wholesome by giving it a war propaganda message.
Yeah, it's not even, I feel like there's no depth to the message either. It's just like, yep, the Germans were bad, the war was bad, we retreated in that one event, cool. There's no like, there's no depth to anything in it apart from that one guy on the boat, and he was really good. Like he was excellent. Like near the end of his arc, I like shed a tear because that was really well done. But the rest of it was trash. The rest of it was really like boring, and I can't excuse that. I can't excuse that like it has 3 plot lines and only one of them was good. Despicable Me 3 had more plot lines that were good in it than Dunkirk did. Because Despicable Me 3 had 3 plot lines, one of which was great, one of which was okay, and one of which was bad. Dunkirk had 2 bad ones and 1 good one. So the success to failure rate in Despicable Me 3 is higher. It's ridiculous.
Woohoo! Cartoons.
It's I'm not saying it's a better film. Despicable Me 3 is not a better film than Dunkirk.
What? That's exactly what you're saying.
No, I'm not. Proportionately,
sure
Dunkirk makes up for everything by, not being lazy garbage, but
sounds like lazy garbage. Sounds like you're taking a story that someone else already wrote and just making it
a story that Churchill already wrote. Was it Churchill? Yeah, it was World War II. It was Churchill.
It was a story that the
it ends
people
with Churchill's
who
whole
were at the
thing,
war wrote, and they just filmed this. Didn't make anything interesting about it.
It's just,
no one
I don't know.
in Dunkirk had a twin brother.
I don't get this whole Christopher Nolan love that everyone has. Why do people love Chris? Is there a Christopher Nolan film that I haven't seen that everyone loves? Apart from Inception. I haven't seen Inception. I'll watch Inception. But like, Memento is amazing. Memento's a great film.
I've heard good things about Memento.
Memento's great.
Think Inception was good. I never totally focused on it. I always watched it when I was at like a movie party with like 20 people and no one was really focused, but I was like, this is like kind of a really interesting idea. But it's my friend Trenton's like favorite movie of all time. So, and he's like one of the smartest guys I know, so there you go.
Yeah, I've heard that, but I don't know. I feel like most of the Christopher Nolan fanboys I find usually they just love the Dark Knight trilogy, and the Dark Knight trilogy is a good movie, but not a great movie. I don't think the Dark Knight's a great movie. I think it's a good movie, an okay movie, and then a really god awful, I was gonna swear there, flipping horrible movie in The Dark Knight Rises. So I don't really get where this love for Christopher Nolan it comes from. I'd like maybe there's something I haven't seen that's amazing, but I don't know. He seems like a good director.
Maybe people love Batman so much that they think it's like connected to like that they have to love Christopher Nolan because they love Batman, and like I don't care at all about Batman. So
yeah, but then I also don't really get I've forgotten his name. Tarantino. I don't get Tarantino either, but then I've only seen the Kill Bill movies, and maybe if I saw Pulp Fiction, it'd be different. But
wait, didn't you see other Tarantino movies?
Oh no, I've seen Inglourious Bastards, and that was okay. But then I watched that when I was like 12 or something, so I don't.
Oh yeah,
really
you wouldn't appreciate it then.
Yeah,
the opening scene to Inglourious Bastards is incredibly beautiful, and you need to watch Django Unchained and The Hateful Eight, and
I've seen Django Unchained. Django Unchained is that one where he fights Obi-Wan, isn't it?
Yes.
You haven't even seen the Star Wars prequels, so you don't even get why that's funny. You'll get it someday. You'll get why that's funny someday. It's not actually funny, sorry.
Well, I've already seen my Star Wars prequel. It's called Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Okay, and I'm done. Done with...
What? I don't really get how that joke connects. Was that just? I'm just gonna say a different but that's not even just. Cursed Child isn't even a prequel. It's like an afterwards.
No, but after I read Cursed Child and I talked about how much I hated it and how I didn't want it to be canon, people were saying that's how a lot of Star Wars fans felt about the prequels, and so
Cursed Child is about all 4 prequels. I don't care what people say about Rogue One. It is a prequel, and it is not even the best prequel. Anyway. The point being, I don't get Nolan. Maybe leave me a comment if you love Nolan and you're like one of those people who's like, oh, Christopher Nolan is the greatest thing ever.
Christopher Nolan was born in the darkness. I never saw Batman until I was a
man. Yeah, if you love Christopher Nolan, let me know. I'm open to liking him. I really liked Memento, and The Dark Knight's fine, but I don't know. Is there something I'm missing? Do I have to watch Inception? Is that where this is going? Because I feel like that's where this is going. I feel like I now have to watch Inception.
I guess you could. Nolan. I personally wouldn't care if you didn't. I think you should watch Little Miss Sunshine and The Imitation Game.
I am going to watch The Imitation Game at some point. County. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I have to watch Inception. But yeah,
I mean, maybe as a film education thing, you should watch Inception.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those films that everyone loves and I haven't seen, so I feel like it's one of the ones I should get to. The Social Network felt like one of those. I felt like everyone had seen it and everyone was like, yeah, it's pretty good, it's good. And then I saw it and it was like, I don't know, I'm kind of zoning out. It's fine, it's good. Yeah. I can see why this appeals to people, but I wasn't that into it. So yeah, that has been July, except it's going to be a little bit late because I'm making a film. I'm sorry. I'm editing. I'm doing all of the post-production for my short film and someone else's short film. So, like, I've got a lot on my plate. And I've been, like, I've been doing all the sound mixing and, like, boom mopping for a lot of my friends.
Yeah, all your Snapchats lately have been like, I'm in a bar holding a boom with my beer.
Oh, I was not holding a boom in that shot. I was just like, for that shoot, I was like, we're in a pub. I want to drink. I'm just going to do lapels for this. Because with lapel mics, you don't have to do anything. You can just kind of... I feel like I shouldn't be saying this publicly, because if like people want to hire me someday, they might find this and be like, oh, we're definitely not going to hire her, because she just sits there. But on a student film, it's excusable. And also I was using a Zoom H4n, which means I can't do boom and lapel at the same time. If I'm going to lapel, I have to only do lapels, because I only have 2... because the lapels that the university has only have 2 receivers, and it's really annoying. Point being, I was drinking on set. It was great. Because we had like an empty bar.
All the best directors are alcoholics.
The director needed like the bar to look like it had people in it, so he needed extras, but he only had his crew. So I was just like, I can sit here and I can record sound because lapels I don't have to really do much. I can record sound while I sit here and be an extra, but we're in a bar, so it'd be weird if I didn't have a drink. So I went and got myself a drink. So I got like royally tipsy while we were shooting that scene. It was great. I am a professional. That's only one time that I've done that.
You're officially a professional drinker. You were drinking on the job.
Oh my god. Every other short film set I've been on, I've been exceedingly professional on. I just, if we're in a bar, it has to happen. Don't try and tell me that people weren't drinking when they were shooting The World's End, except those were probably all sets and not real bars, so it probably doesn't actually mean anything. Okay, anyway, we're rambling at this point. Movies are good. That's it. I
watched a stage rendition of Macbeth where everyone was drunk.
Yay. Wait, really?
Did I tell you that?
As in the actors were all drunk?
Yeah, it was called Sloshed Shakespeare, and... Everyone always had like a beer or a margarita in their hand, and they were reciting all their lines perfectly, and they were playing it up because it was supposed to be like, everyone in the audience drink, all the actors are drinking, and they would like do these like bits where like an actor would like trip and like throw their like drink in the other actor's face, and they're like, ah, and it would be wine, like red wine, and then Macbeth would do his like blood speech, like it would play into it. It was really creative, it was really funny, and
that's pretty good.
Yeah. It was cool. It was good stuff.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Anyway, that's it. That's all. I'm done. Do you have any movie thoughts that you have to air apart from that you're gonna see Despicable Me 3 and you're gonna love it?
Yeah, I will love it forever. And I don't think so. I mean, I haven't had time to watch any movies except repeats with my friends. I did a lot of friend visiting this past month, traveling. Lots and lots of working, trying to just pay bills and not die.
Fair. Oh, Game of Thrones is back, by the way, and it's pretty good. It's pretty hype.
I'm still in the middle of the second Game of Thrones book, and I haven't decided if I should just start over or if I can
just
even
stop the show. Just start watching the show. It's fine. Give up.
No, I think I'll probably pick up that second book again. I doubt I'll be any more confused than I was when I was actually reading it. I don't think I'm focused or smart enough to read Game of Thrones. I think I'll just read The Hobbit again.
Classic. Well, then you should watch it. If you're not smart or focused enough to read it, then just start watching it. It's way easier to watch.
It's not
Everyone
the
same! I just want to say, the latest season, episode 2, has like the greatest cut of all time between two scenes. It's such a good transitionary cut. People who have seen it, it's a cut between like a medical thing where someone's cutting into like gross stuff, and then it cuts to, as they put the knife in, it cuts to the view of like someone putting a fork into a pie. And it's such a perfectly done cut, because the whole medical scene before it is like all pussy and gross, and I'm trying not to spoil as much as I possibly can, but it's all pussy and gross, and there's like this gross pus, and then it cuts to like it's like a white creamy
like
pie.
Cream.
And like the
now that's
crunch
an example
of the pastry and the skin
movie editing, isn't it?
It's beautiful editing. It's such a good match cut. I love it. It just excited my loins in a way that no cut has ever done before. Was that too graphic?
Maybe a little. I know about your weird pornography exploits, but I mean, our viewers don't need to. Cat.
Wait, do you actually know about my weird pornography exploits?
I mean,
have I told you about that?
Not in exact detail, but we can have sharing time when we finish recording.
Okay, let's end before we say something that I hope that I regret. Anyway, yeah, so that's been... I didn't think this would be a long episode this month, but we've gone an hour, which is the usual runtime of these, so...
Good times.
Good times.
We'll catch you up on QJ's adventures sometime eventually. I'm going to get a second job at an airport pretty soon, hopefully.
Then you can just come here and record them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
twice a month, fly off to England, record across the pond in person.
Oh no, I was just thinking
we could do them in video.
We could do this show like we normally do, but we'll only ever do QJ's adventure when you can come to me. That's the adventure. But yeah, anyway, I'm done. Movies are done. That's it. That's all. I'm gonna watch Captain Underpants maybe tomorrow.
Someone's mowing the lawn right outside my window, so it's good.
Good timing.
Good time to hit the stop
it's
button.
Not like your audio quality isn't terrible anyway. Salt.
Shut up.
I'm gonna see the Emoji Movie as well. Oh boy, next month, Emoji Movie special. We're gonna talk about the Emoji Movie for an hour, and that's it. That's all it's gonna be. The Emoji Movie.
Mowing the lawn.
Alright, bye.
Bye.
Leave a comment. Suggest movies to me, actually. I haven't ended my recording yet. Suggest movies to me. I haven't had
Suggest
any
movies
and I want them.
only using emojis, and she has to guess the title based on the emojis.
Does YouTube even do emojis, like, properly? Or do you have to do emoticons? I don't even know. Emoji Movie, leave us a comment if you're excited for the Emoji Movie. Tell me why people love Nolan, because I don't really get it. I don't understand. And suggest a movie. Bye.
Goodbye.
Hi, this is me in post-production. I just wanted to add one final note into this episode. I totally forgot to mention it, but The Social Network won Best Original Score, so that counts towards my bingo chart, just in case anyone was following that. Yeah, there we go. Social Network. Well, I did have a bingo chart movie this month. Good for me. Proud of myself. That's why I watched it. It was a whole thing. Bye.